The Diary of a Certified Psychopath. 19th of August, 2021. Duties with Detours. With gyro helmet plus plain cotton clobber, a functionally practical, if aesthetically clashing clothing ensemble that hopefully hampers the horrors of crashes. Some sundry errands in this quintessential embodiment of English rural civility, that is Stenning, West Sussex, afforded the opportunity to take an invigorating sabbatical from screens and stats, relieve a mounting sense of cabin fever, as well as smuggle in a three-leaf clover of local climes. At least, that's what I'd anticipated it would look like on the map when planning this route last night. But in truth, it bears more than a striking resemblance to an anteater sitting in a bird's nest whose protruding snout only exists because I neglected to unpause my Garmin. What a truly charming haven Stenning is, worth every pedal stroke the long slog over Titch Hill, the first of my trio of ascents. Roads spotlessly clean, surfaces as smooth as silk, and not a municipal bin out of place. Threw in a bash at its notorious Bostel, and a bosh up its neighbour, Newham Lane, for good measure, before hopping out of the saddle and off the grid to potter about my chores. Eventually returned home with a blustery cruise down our local beloved Coombs Lane, regarding a vivid steely grey sky and detecting a light dusting of drizzle on the cheek, only to find every traffic light at the dual carriageway junction to Shoreham Airport out of service, adding another 10 stationary minutes to my journey. A boisterous west wind that, whilst balmy and without hidden bite, still managed to reset the muscles and cast a chill upon the bone during periods between efforts, which was most of this ride, which of course caused me to rue the incoming autumn more than revel in what remains of this salutary summer of mixed content, which of course I pray evolves into one of eternal Indian paradise. And just in case those omnipresent weather gods are in a giving mood, that's between 25 and 30 degrees day and night without exception, and a wind of no more than 4 miles per hour in any direction, and precipitation only between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The 20th of August 2021. Augmented assignments. Again. Another elongated, task-related trundle in baggy cotton clobber with a progressively heavy backpack. Yeah, I know it's slow, just get on with it please. Composed with intent to remain within probable striking distance of reality and sanity, in addition to maintaining a solid outdoor form, since my agoraphobic steed provides as much lateral motion as a wooden horse with broken wheels, no matter how much hay I feed him, and the technique steep ascents demand to keep the bike upright comprise a sense of balance and core stability that many argue the vast majority of virtual setups do not necessitate, regardless of what others might claim about their kicker climbs or rocker plates. Count me out of that debate, please. 40 to 45 kilometers a day is the tentative real-life target from here on in, make that here on out, comprising rides of any kind and in universal clobber, but with a minimum limit of 10 kilometers, except on extremely windy and rainy days. This goal, well, let's call it an aspiration, is based on nothing more than the fact that 45 kilometers was the daily pre-COVID quota that earned you Strava's monthly distance challenge trophy, which only acknowledged outdoor mileage and commanded 1,250 kilometers every 28 days. The fact that today's veritably non-virtual conditions were amongst the most perfect I have experienced throughout what has been, I admit with grudging objectivity, a mercifully mild year thus far, could bode either for better or worse. A pessimistic peddler may lament that from here things can only go downhill, while a keen optimist would reply, another fitting excuse for some retail therapy, or to finally formulate the perfect combination of winter layers, an arcane conundrum that has thus far eluded the Voluminati's highest and wisest ranks. A southerly breeze of silken beauty, blissfully balmy, and with not a hint of hidden bite, far more forgiving on the mind and body than yesterday's wild western gustbuster. Passing by Devil's Dyke via Saddlescombe Road's ruthless ascent, it stirred up a sweet and aromatic floral fantasia, which served pleasantly to both inspire and distract. Even my thinly veiled muscles somehow managed to remain half warm, following several duty-bound and decidedly relaxing walkabout intervals. A caffeine-based refuel at St Answell's sun-drenched gardens in the heart of a tranquil and civilised Hove rounded off a memorable and cathartic outing that allowed me to reacquaint myself with some of the stimulating social aspects of what I hope and pray is set to evolve into a palatable post-Covid path through life. Note to other Stravers who don't mind practical and constructive spoilers: Edburton Road, aka Clappers Lane, closed at the western end and past Poynings from the east. Yet more substandard chip sealing? Saturday, the 21st of August, 2021. Noting the forecast from 12 onwards to be dubious, I took the stable's safest, weightiest steed, thereby prioritising my own physical well-being and preemptively exorcising any feverish inward fulminating about average speed. The bike in question is a locally sourced second-hand but immaculately preserved Ibis silk tie, which would be contemporarily categorised as a classic or vintage soft-tail mountain bike. The soft-tail refers to an inventive elastomer-based rear suspension system, which I'll elaborate on in a future entry, when there's nothing ride-related to discuss. Climbed Coombs Lane at what felt like a snappy pace, and stopped by Stenning for some supper-related supplies, noting the somewhat fragmented presence of several convivial Saturday socials, scattered amongst its bevy of cafes and bakeries, and that was just the high street. From there, the original plan, more of a strategy, had been to sail with a supportive southeasterly up to Hurstpier Point, visit its larger neighbour, Hassocks, for a quick slug of coffee, then head south from Ditchling over the true barren of all beacons. Cue an avalanche of protests from offended advocates of their nearest and dearest beacon. I'm informed Brecon makes them best. In any case, a combination of deadlines, the stiff easterly, and slower pace of my heftier horse necessitated a drizzly detour past the Old Devil, where I encountered a quartet of fellow pedalling pilgrims battling the very same satanically steep slog up Saddlescombe Road, featured in yesterday's outing. We exchanged positions and smiles several times, with the subconscious race concluding in an honest draw. The rain eased during my sporadic journey home across town, where several further stops for rations were made, and so it was quite perchance that today's part work, part leisure, predicated loiter around and about south-central rural Sussex elegantly merged pleasant old memories with healthy new habits. Henceforth, it is my profound hope that both the rub of the roads and fate's benevolent interventions shall make such a scenario part and parcel.